What happens when HR plays games with hay? Some years ago, I worked for a company that manufactured car parts. Most of our work was for the aftermarket, but we also had a few OEM customers. I was assigned to run several machines that mainly produced parts for those OEM clients. Over time, because my direct supervisor was lazy and disorganized, I slowly took over many of his responsibilities. I made sure jobs were done in the correct order of priority, monitored machine usage, requested consumables before they ran out, coordinated with other departments to get parts on time, and ensured urgent orders were completed quickly. Eventually, the salesperson responsible for the OEM customer came directly to me whenever something needed to be rushed. In short, I was doing my own job, plus a large part of my supervisor's job, at least the parts that affected my area. I did not really mind, even though I was not paid extra for it. The upside was that I could work efficiently without my supervisor getting in the way. Around this time, our main OEM customer had to redesign all the parts we supplied due to new regulations. Together with our development department, we began producing sample parts to meet the new specifications. These samples were sent back and forth for testing and approval. This was a slow process, and often took months before a final design was approved. For many months, my time was split between helping develop these new parts and making sure all existing production orders were completed on schedule. Up until then, HR duties were handled by someone who also had other roles in the company. The management later decided to hire a dedicated HR employee from outside the company. Once the new HR person started, the company reviewed how production staff were paid. Everyone on the shop floor had been paid the same rate regardless of skill level. Machine operators earned the same as setter operators, which was my official role. Management decided that more skilled workers would receive a small pay increase and a new job title called machine setter. The raise was not much, but it was better than nothing, and I was one of the employees selected. One habit I had was finishing important tasks before taking breaks. If I was in the middle of setting up a machine, I would complete that task before going on break, even if it meant not taking my break at the exact scheduled time. This had never been an issue before, but HR suddenly decided they did not like it. HR raised this issue in a meeting. They were told by management to stay out of it because the work was getting done properly, which was all that mattered. HR was unhappy about being overruled, but they had no choice. A few weeks later, a bank holiday weekend was coming up, and the company asked for volunteers to work on the Monday. They offered only normal overtime rates. I declined. To be honest, I would have refused even if they had offered double or triple pay. That Friday, my supervisor and HR called me into the office. HR accused me of being selfish and said I was letting the team down. They pointed out that others worked more overtime than I did and were still willing to come in. I replied that I was glad for them, but I was still not working the holiday. HR then smugly reminded me that I had recently received a pay increase and said I was risking it by refusing. The raise had been given as a bonus instead of an hourly increase, which meant it could be removed easily. I told them they were free to take the bonus if they wanted. In return, I would only set and operate my assigned machine and would stop doing all the extra work I had been covering. Thinking they had the upper hand, they agreed. My supervisor looked extremely unhappy, but HR said that was acceptable, so that is exactly what I did. I informed everyone who needed to know that if they required anything outside my basic duties, they would need to speak to another setter or my supervisor. After enjoying my bank holiday weekend, I returned on Tuesday and followed my plan. I did only what my job description required, nothing more. Anyone who asked for additional help was politely redirected. One important detail was that the machine responsible for most OEM production and nearly all the redesign work was not the machine I operated. After about 6 calm days, the production manager asked to speak with me. We went outside, and he asked me to return to my previous way of working. He said the extra money would be reinstated and backdated. He also told me HR had been instructed that any future issues involving me had to go through him first. Later, I learned that the production manager had come straight from a meeting where the heads of sales and development raised serious concerns with the company director. The director was furious with HR and ordered the situation to be fixed immediately. I never had another problem with HR after that. Apart from a few dirty looks, they avoided me completely.